How about now? You can hear me now, Chris? All right, Bollinger, what you do, take your headset off and just use your microphone on your phone. That's what the problem is. It's not recognizing our headsets.
How about
There
now?
we go. Can hear somebody.
How about now? There we go.
Yep, I can hear you.
Can hear somebody.
Yep. Ted, can you hear us? Okay, good deal.
How about now?
There we go. Now. Can hear somebody. All right, I think we're going to have to turn our volume down so people can hear us. We can just assume that they can hear us now, so. Shut up, Richard. I don't even know why you're even in here. Prime guys are in deep trouble right now. You shouldn't even be here. I hope you're making money, Rich, because nobody else over there is, according to what everybody says. Bear with us, guys. We're working out the kinks, man. It's going to take a little bit of time. I just had a wild idea of trying this out. I should have did this beforehand, but I didn't. Wow, this has been a journey, hasn't it?
So you better, James, before we get started, you better pass those wrenches out, bro.
Yeah, I need to do that right now. All right, Chris Thompson, you are on. I'm getting you, Rich. Bear with me. All right. Look there and see if you guys got wrenches. I think you do, Chris, and I think you do, Rich. I
It's
added you
not
guys as moderators.
it's not showing on the screen, but that don't mean they didn't get it. Okay. I see Rich has got it. Let's see Chris. I don't see Chris's yet.
Yeah, they're moderators. They're both listed as moderators. I don't know why the wrenches aren't showing up. Well, we might have screwed the pooch on this one. We might have to schedule another one because I don't see too many people. There's Rich. He's got a wrench. Chris Thompson, send me a message. Let me see if your wrench shows up.
Yeah, go ahead and stick a wrench on me too. I just
There
sent
we
you a
go.
message. Yep.
There we go.
We're getting there now.
All right, Bollinger, send a message. See if your wrench shows up.
Yep.
All right, good deal. All right, guys. Like I said, this is just a kind of a trial run, kind of an introduction of us doing a live. Bear with us. This is all new to all of us on this. Rich, I know you got a lot of experience with YouTube. I do not, so you're going to have to bear with me. And again, you know, this is the fun of trucking, how it goes. Go ahead and start talking a little bit, Chris. I'm going to turn my air on. I'm getting hot.
All right. Well, welcome to those of you that are here. And as you already figured out, we're not professionals at this. We drive a truck for a living, and we do this for fun. So, but anyway, glad to be here. I'm in Texas, somewhere in Texas, close to Houston, and so glad everybody's here. I don't know what happened to Nicole. She disappeared, I guess. If she's in here, she needs to send a message so we can get her a
She has
wrench.
no patience.
You didn't say that out loud. He can say that because he's not used to going home on a regular basis, but that's changing. So he might want to learn a lesson from that, maybe.
Nicole has no patience whatsoever, so I don't expect her to come back in. Of course, she's texting me, telling me, you know, you're not live. I can't see you, this and that. And what she doesn't understand is I'm trying to get stuff together. There's Life on 18 Wheels, man. What's going on? My other good buddy. Getting you situated so you could be a moderator. All right, Life on 18 Wheels. You're a moderator. I feel like Oprah Winfrey here, giving everybody moderator. Maybe River Rich, maybe you should call a mofo more than twice a year. You know what? That goes for you too, buddy. You know, I thought about calling you the other day and ask you how the prime market's going. Obviously, everybody's killing it over there right now, and I mean killing it. They're getting killed. I hope you're doing okay.
There's one good thing about it, though, James. They might be getting killed, but they're getting killed on camera while they do it.
That's right, man. That's right. All right, Life on 18 Wheels says, you get a mod, you get a mod. Everybody gets a mod. Ain't that the truth, man?
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth?
It's going to take 45 of them to keep the trolls off of us.
I don't think there's even any trolls in here. I can't even see how many. Looks like there's 7 people in here, but I don't know who the 7 people are. But so what's going on, Ted? I appreciate you showing up, buddy. You're the only one that's not a friend that's on here. I've kind of chatted with you online here, but never really talked to you on the phone or anything, man. I hope things are good. You have any questions about anything, Ted? In the meantime, just want to kind of introduce myself. I know you guys have seen my videos, James. I've been doing this for about 17, 18 years now. Always kind of loved the trucking business. Former police officer for about 20 years. Married. I've got 2 kids. Try to go home as much as I can, try to have fun at the same time, which I don't really have a lot of time for fun, but it is, it's all about the money for everybody right now. Times are tough and you do what you can. And if you keep up with my videos, you kind of know what I am. So I'm going to introduce Poppy here. This is the other guy. His name is Chris, but it's part of the second channel. And just to kind of give you guys an update, my channel is probably going to change names again. Not that I really want to, but the reason I created this channel all along, it's what I've always said, is it's for you guys to learn and to kind of communicate with each other. And the reason that I want to do this channel, I want to bring, you know, a different driver on, you know, almost every week if I can, and just have them on like I've got Chris right now. Chris is going to be my buddy, so there'll be another driver that'll come on. We'll kind of do a 3-way interview. Maybe once every Tuesday or so, if we can get things worked out. Like to find out a little bit about everybody. My buddy Life on 18 Wheels, he just got all his paperwork and everything he needs, and he's going to Landstar, so he's good to go. He started with me with SFI through Schneider, and we went through the ranks, and I went the JB Hunt way, and he went the Landstar way, so he's good to go. So I'm going to quit talking for a minute. I'm going to let Chris talk, and he can go back through his background, and then we'll read through some of the comments. Hopefully somebody shows up.
Yeah, so James and I have been buddies for quite some time. We were together at Swift, and I left and come to JB Hunt. I've been here 14 months, and with a new SFI truck, and fight the same battles you guys fight, I guess, assuming that some of you is driving now. I know some of you is not, because I recognize a few of you in here, but for those of you driving, it's a struggle, and you know that. But we're in the worst freight market we've been in my lifetime, and I'm 55 years old. But we're making a living. We're not getting rich, but we're holding our own. And I got into trucking in 1998. Started in flatbed with Boyd Brothers, and did that 6 months. And I jumped over at Express. I was there 5 years. I did LTL. I did truckload. I did dedicated. Then I went back to Boyd Brothers for almost three more years. And then I got out for a little while. My children were young, and I wanted to be home, be a full-time dad. And then I came back out. I did a year with TMC. Everybody, and we'll get into this maybe later in a different sheet, where done anything. And so jumped through those hoops, did that. Then I went to Swift, and then I've been here 14 months. And until the market changes, James, I can't see going anywhere else, because, we'll talk about this more later, but James and I both feel like that our best bet right now is to be with a mega carrier, and we can talk about the reasons why down the road. But if I thought there was a way to do something better, I'd go do it. I have no more loyalty to JB Hunt than they have to me. If they could figure out how to eliminate me and still get paid, they would. And that's not meant to be derogatory on them. That's just how every trucking company is. They're going to do what's best for them, and we're going to do what's best for us. That's just the life we live. But they've been good to me, and everybody says you can't have an SFI truck and pull for a mega carrier and be successful. I've proved them wrong. You can call Nate Green at SFI tomorrow. I don't care. Tell him I told you to call. I've never missed a single payment. I've never been late on a payment. They've never had to hound me for their money. SFI's been good to me. They've done everything they said they'd do. And down the road, James and I have talked. We'll do a show about SFI, devote a whole show to them, why we do what we do, and why we chose them, and why we think it's a good choice. I get it's comical when you see people come on these YouTube shows, these YouTube channels, and they comment, and they got all this knowledge of SFI and how you can't make that big truck payment and make a living, but not a single one of them's done it, James. They just like to run that mouth and repeat what somebody else has said. And I just want you guys to realize that it doesn't matter if it's trucking. I've owned businesses all my life. I owned a flooring store. I owned a construction company, had 96 employees. I've been successful at whatever I did because I'm going to do what it takes to be successful. But I will say this, and this is not meant to be derogatory either. I believe with all my heart that 85% of people that go in business fail the first year. That's not government statistics. That's just my opinion. I've seen it. I've watched it. A lot of friends of mine, YouTubers, and you guys would know a lot of them if I named them, have failed. That doesn't mean they're bad people. They just failed, and for different reasons. They chose the wrong company. They chose the wrong truck. They couldn't manage money. They couldn't be a dispatcher and a driver. I mean, there's different reasons why people fail. But I think I've proven that you can do it, and so far James has proved he can do it, and we're making decent money. The last 12 months, I've grossed $275,000. That's not the highest paid driver out there, but that's not the worst either. you know, I don't like to talk money. We'll do it occasionally just to let people know that you can make it in an SFI truck. Um, you know, I don't mind telling you. I'll tell you the bad with the good. Memorial Day week, James, as you know, I had a terrible week. I was on the road 6 days, made $3,700. That's pitiful. That's the worst week I've ever had at JB. But it wasn't JB Hunt's fault. Well, I guess it was kind of. They sent me to get a load. They gave me a load that wasn't a load, but you know, that happens in trucking. They didn't do it intentionally. But that's the worst check I had. I think I took home $900 that week. Might have been 700, 7 or 9. But, you know, before that, 9 out of the last 10 weeks, I took home between 33 and 3,700 a week for 9 out of 10 weeks. That's trucking. You got to look at an average. You can't look at one good week or one bad week. I think 275 is a respectable number for 12 months. It was bad enough. I can promise you, when I had to pay the taxes on it, James, it wasn't fun at that point. But you know, the alternative is you don't owe taxes because you didn't make anything. So JB Hunt's like any other company. They're not a perfect company. They got a lot of faults. Okay, but let's keep it real. I'm not the perfect driver either. You know, there's days I get mad and jump all over them about something that's not even their fault, and they've put up with me. They don't have to. They've made a business decision that I'm good for them. I make them money. I don't run into stuff. I deliver and pick up on time every time. Never been late anywhere on a single load in 14 months. And so they keep me, and I keep them because I think they're the best fit for me right now. That doesn't mean that I'll be the best fit for them from now on, or that they'll be the best fit for me for now on. But it's a business marriage, and we make it work. And we're like any other company. We've got some really great people. We've got some people probably shouldn't be here, whether it be drivers or coordinators or whoever. I mean, that's just every company. That's not derogatory towards JB Hunt. They've been good to me. They voted me contractor of the month for the month of March, and I got a little bit of money for that. I think it was about $500, and I'm in the running now for contractor of the year, and they give, I think it's $2,500 that they pay for that. But they've been good to me. But one thing James and I have talked about that we're going to do is we're going to be transparent on this channel. We will never, with a capital N, lie to you or mislead you. We'll give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so that if you want to do what we're doing, that you can hopefully make the best decision for you and your family. So, you know, James, I'm excited about what we're going to do. I hope we can get a lot of people to come in every week. And you and I have got over 30 years experience together in trucking. We've pulled everything. The only thing we hadn't pulled that I know of, and maybe you have, you correct me if you're wrong. If I'm wrong, we hadn't talked about it, but I don't think either one of us has pulled tanker. Other than that, we've pulled everything else. I pulled doubles. We've pulled flatbed, both of us. You've pulled reefer. I've been a company driver. You have too, I guess. I've been a lease op, owner op. So I think we got something to offer. I think we can bring people knowledge. And
yeah, absolutely.
I'm not here to persuade anybody to come to JB Hunt. It might be the best fit for you. It may not. I've got friends. If I named them here, I don't want to name drop. I'm not going to do that. But I got best friends that are at Prime, that are at Landstar. And so, you know, you need to do you. Whatever works for you. I'll say this. I'm not going to talk for an hour with no break here. But I go home every weekend. So I made my $275 being at the house Saturday and Sunday every week, James. You know that. And to do that in this market, I think that's respectable. And so I'm going to keep doing that. And James has been used to staying out, and he doesn't mind to stay out. But when he come over here, you know, I told him, you got a wife, you got kids. I want you to be home. You know, you can't run recaps over here and do what we do. So you're going to have to take a 34. So I'd rather you take that 34 at home than I would in a truck stop somewhere. And so if you come to JB Hunt, you know, James and I'll do everything we can to help make you successful. You're going to have to do your part. I'm not going to book all your loads for you and hand you the keys to the Corvette. You know, you're going to have to learn the ropes, and I don't have time. That's not meant to be mean. I got a life too. I got grandbabies and a family, and I'm already booking loads for 3 trucks now. And I didn't get in this to be a full-time dispatcher. So, but we'll help you, and we'll give you the tools you need to be successful, but you're going to have to run. You're going to have to run hard. You know, James and I run 14 hours a day about every day. If you're going to go home every weekend and take 48 hours at home, you got to run when you're out here. You know, it's 11 on, 10 off, you know, unless you get held up somewhere. But we'll help you if you want to come. James will put the information down there how to get a hold of us. This is not a recruiting channel. I think James has already made that clear. We're not going to persuade you to do anything. We'll give you the facts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I would recommend SFI highly, and we're going to devote a show to that in the future where we talk about that. And you know, there's a lot of ways to truck. You can do it with a new truck. You can do it with a 400,000 mile truck. You can try to do it with an 800,000 mile truck. That ain't going to work out very good for you. You couldn't do that on doing what we do in a truck like that. But we'll talk about all that. And
we got our first volunteer, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
we got our first volunteer. Rich wants to come on the show next week.
That's awesome. I know Rich. Rich doesn't know me. I followed Rich though back when he was friends with Eric and Jenna, and there's probably not anybody in here but him that knows who that is. But
we both have followed Prime People before, because that's one of the companies that I looked at going to for a long time, and honestly, that's how me and Rich became friends, was through another YouTuber, and that's just the way it is. Like he says, I don't know how to fail. He knows that. He runs hard. He knows what he does. He's been at Prime now for, I guess, close to 3 years now, Rich? I mean, I don't know exactly how long it's been, but I know he's doing well. I talk to him on occasions, and every time I talk to him, he does well.
Yeah, I did everything to go to Prime. I drug tested. I mean, it was literally a Friday. I was supposed to start on a Monday, and I made the choice instead to come to JB Hunt. I don't regret that. That's not to say that I couldn't have succeeded at Prime. Prime didn't fit my lifestyle. I couldn't go home. You know, I've been home last 2 Fridays by 3 p.m. I left out both weeks at 8 o'clock at night, Sunday night. I can't do that with Prime. And so I've been home every weekend, but maybe 4 out of the last 10 years of trucking. So that doesn't work with Prime. So what I do here works for me.
Yeah. You know, like I said, Prime's a good company. It's good for, you know, some people, and some people it's not. But I believe it's okay.
Well, I want to say this about Prime, because they're like SFI. Prime gets a bad rap by a bunch of ignorant people that don't know what they're talking about.
Well, that's just with anything.
We're going to call balls and strikes here, and if it's stupid, I'm going to tell you it's stupid. But everybody talks about these high truck payments. They don't even know what a truck costs. They don't know what the interest on that truck costs. If you want to buy a truck, because they buy so many, you can go to Prime Inc. and you can buy a truck and pay for it in 3 years, and I guarantee you, and spec it any way you want. You can order that sucker to the T how you want it. And you'll pay less for that truck through Prime than you can buy it at any dealership if you pay cash. And nobody's got cash.
Better? Is this any better with my sound?
I can hear you just fine.
My wife said that sound was horrible.
Well, I can try this again too. But now back to finish this point. Prime is cheap a place. I mean, where else can you go and make a payment, James, like you and I do, for 3 years, and then for $100 they hand you the title. There's not a big stinking balloon payment at the end. I mean, you do the math on $1,200 for 50 weeks. That's around let's just call it 60,000 for 3 years. A loaded out, decked out truck with all the bells and whistles for $180,000, including interest. You can't go to a dealership and do that. So Prime gets a bad rap for that. Oh, their truck payment's high. No, it's not. You're just paying for it in 3 years. People go to the dealership and finance one for 6 or 7 years. It's wore out. The warranty's done dead before they get it paid for.
Yeah, we've talked about this many a times. You gotta get. I mean, you got to pay the piper. I mean, if you start off with the used truck, then the used truck's going to get wore out, just like you said. You know, whether you go to Prime, whether you go to SFI or wherever, you should get a newer truck or newest truck that you possibly can.
There's no free ride, James. You
either
make a payment on a new one, or you're in the shop all the time and you eat the downtime. And by the way, every day this truck don't move is $1,000 in lost income. So I don't want to give any credit because their head's big enough, so we're not going to name them. But I watched a video 2 days ago, and if I named them, everybody'd know them. They had about a $1,500 breakdown, James. It cost them $5,000 plus. $5,000 plus. Now, This truck's got. I'm looking right now because I'm sitting in it. This truck's got. I've put 248,000 miles on this truck. It's never been to the dealer one time. It's never been down on a record one time. It's never cost me a dime other than maintenance. So you're going to pay. You're going to pay for a truck payment, or you're going to pay to work on it, and you're going to pay the downtime. And so there's no free ride. And these guys that think they're riding a truck it's paid for is getting off scot-free. Let me tell you what they're really doing. If they told you the truth, they're grossing about $3,500 a week. That's about the average right now. Now, you and I, James, are blessed. We're doing 5 to 6, okay? But they're doing 35. They are burning $300 in fixed costs. They're burning about $1,200 in fuel. That leaves $2,000. They're pocketing that $2,000. They're not saving one dime in their business or in nothing else. And what's going to happen is when that truck blows up, they're one breakdown from being bankrupt. And that's what's going to happen. It's happening every day.
That's right.
We watched a guy that you and I both just this week had a death problem on a paid-for truck. And he had done that. He had made $3,500 a week. He didn't bank no money. That repairs $13,000, and he's out of business this week.
Wow.
So yes, you make your decision about how you want to live and die, but you're going to make a truck payment. If you've got a truck that's paid for, that's great. Well, you know what you better be doing? You better be making $1,000 a week payment to yourself. Because when that truck breaks down or that truck blows up and is not worth fixing, you're going to have to buy another truck that's paid for. And if you don't have any money saved, you're out of business. So everybody's got a truck payment. You either pay the bank, the finance company, or you pay your banking account, but you better be paying somebody.
Yeah, I agree. Ted Hill says he's born and raised in West Virginia. He's still here. Rich said life on 18 wheels. For some people, Prime doesn't work, but it works for him, so he's there. And again, that's right. You're exactly right, Rich. You've been there with Prime long enough to know that, Prime's not a bad company. All these people that are talking on YouTube right now that are trashing, Prime. Well, there's a couple reasons for that, and I really believe this. And me and you, Rich, we've talked about this. And the reason they're doing that is because they're trying to weed out some of the bad eggs that don't want to work or they don't want to take this or take that. Rich, you're just like me. You'll take any load, and I know that, and you don't refuse anything. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is right now. You got to go to places that you're not comfortable with. The only place that I really don't have any desire to go to is New York, and that's obviously New York City. I don't mind going to upstate New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, any of those places. I don't like going there, but unfortunately, with the way the market is, I've done a lot of driving up there. And Rich, you're the same way. I know you are. We've talked about this in the past. And Prime right now has a lot of drivers that just that shouldn't be there. They don't want to work. And I watch all the videos with all the Prime guys because honestly, I kind of find it amusing. I because I know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, it happens here too, James. I mean, it's like rules, okay? Yeah, we got some rules at JB Hunt. You had rules at Snyder. And as you've already figured out, they just don't enforce the rules here like they did at Snyder. Now, I've not got stupid. I mean, I'm told if you hit 90 mile an hour, you're going to get a phone call. I don't have any business hitting 90. I've not hit 90. But a lot of times, and I'm not referring just to JB Hunt, James, but a lot of times these rules are in place and they're selectively enforced. So when freight gets bad and they want to weed somebody out and they ain't got enough loads, well, who are they going to weed out? They're going to weed out the people that break the rules, the people that run into crap, the people that deliver late. And who knows? Maybe that's what Prime's doing. Maybe they're using them cameras to get rid of a few people. We don't know. We're not accusing them of that. We're just saying that's a possibility.
Let's read some of these comments. Life on 18 Wheels says, it's the whole camera situation for me. I understand it may not be for everyone, but how they implement the inward cameras as well. And he says, Rich says, I go home every couple of months, but of course I have no kids or a wife. Rich said, Life on 18, I don't have cameras in my truck, at least not yet, he said. Rich says, I'll be ordering my truck next year. So, and I've talked to Rich. I've talked to Rich about this. So he's in a standard lease, the regular lease. So what he's going to do is he's going to put the money down and he's going to buy his own truck through Prime and go through the ACE lease is what they call it. And I know that's what he's been planning on for a long time. I know he wanted to complete the lease that he has because, Prime does have the game figured out. It has worked for a lot of people, and they have a lot of people that have paid their trucks off. With Prime, though, they if you go through their full lease, then you get the money on the back end that was put towards that truck that's not used, and he's going to
get a completion bonus.
That's right, completion bonus, and he's going to use that money for his down payment. And quite frankly, I know you're going on 3 years. I know it's 14, and then minus 1,000 for every year you have. So you're looking at 11,000 down, and you're golden. And then whatever options you put on that truck, and knowing you, I think you're probably going to put some options on it. So there's some more comments here. Rich says, Life on 18, I'm fine with them, but I don't do anything that wouldn't hurt me. And again, I know Rich. He of course, their trucks can't go but 65. We've talked about that. He used to kid around and joke with me when I used to drive 60 at Swift, and I can't even drive 60 now if I wanted to. I mean, with what we do, we got to drive 70, 75 speed limit everywhere we go, or we won't make our delivery times. But yeah, Rich is a safe driver. I know he has no accidents, no incidents in the 3 years he's been there, and I'm pretty sure he hasn't had any cargo claims or anything major either. He said also Prime has a $100 balloon payment at the end, and that's one good thing about Prime's lease when you do their ACE lease. The payments are high, and they have two options on that. Or at least they did when I was there for the short time. They got two options: a 3 and a 4 year lease. Obviously, the 4 year lease, the payments are cheaper, but both of them have that $100 buyout at the end. And right now, that's a good way to go.
And unless they've changed it now, if you're doing flatbed or tanker, you don't have a choice. It's 4 years. But on the reefer, you're right. They give you a choice. And the good thing about buying a truck there, as I see it, is you can put anything on that truck you want to. On a Freightliner, if you want the what we call the Murphy bed and the dinette setup, you can. That's an option. If you want upgraded insulation package, that's an option. If you want heated and cooled seats upgrade, that's an option. Literally, you spec that truck to the T. And I'll give them this plug too. You talk to them about this, James.
Yeah.
The Stripes and More, is that what it's called that does
Yep.
their decal work?
Yep.
Hey, top shelf company.
Yep.
I mean, they do unbelievable work, and they're very reasonable. Very reasonable.
Jeremy Griggs made a comment here. I'm sure this is to Rich, obviously. Prime, you pay almost $250,000 for a truck. Well, I got news for you. When you really sit down and you do the math, most trucks are somewhere around the 175 to 200 mark, depending on what options you get. Now, that can fluctuate a little bit with the economy. I think it's a little bit down. But still, it doesn't matter, what kind of credit you have, whether you have good credit, bad credit. Anytime you get a commercial loan, your interest rate's going to be a lot higher than what you would do if you buy, say, a regular personal car. So when you really get down and do the scheme of things, you're still paying close to $250,000 for a truck if you buy it new. Now, if you buy something used, what I'd say a cash truck, $50,000. Yeah, you're gonna pay a little bit, but you know what? This is the price you pay to get into the business. Unfortunately, with the mega carriers, there's nothing you can really do about it. And it's a zero down payment deal to get in. Well, almost zero for us, but with Rich, it was a zero down payment.
I don't see, and I'm not calling Jeremy a liar, although
no, not at all.
I will say this: I researched this as well as you could do it because I almost went there. I just don't see how he gets to that number because let's say the payments have gone up since I checked a year ago, and let's say they're $1,300 a week. So you're looking at roughly $67,000 a year. So 67 times 3 is 201, and let's say you did 10,000 in upgrades. Now you're at 211. I just don't see how he gets to $250,000. I mean, maybe the trucks have gone. Maybe they're paying $1,500 a week over. But let me say this too: over there, you get a brand spanking new EPU on the truck, and you're paying for that. So that's a year ago. That was $12,000 new. So I don't know what it is now. Assuming that it's gone up like everything else. With an APU, you might be getting up to the 225 range. But go to the dealer and spec that truck and see what you pay for it. And you're going to pay what, James? Usually in the car business, and I know that's a little different, but what's the interest rate going to cost you on that new truck now if you go through the bank?
You know what? If you go through a bank, you get a commercial loan, you're going to be at least 10%, probably more. It just depends, obviously what credit is. But even with somebody with a great credit score, you're still going to be in the 10% interest range on a commercial loan. I used to do commercial loans all the time on, and a lot of people don't know this, but Ford F450s, not the 350s, 250s, but the 450 and bigger, you have to have commercial insurance on that truck. Whether you own it, whether you buy it, whether you have it in your business, personal name, you have to have commercial insurance because it's a commercial rated truck. A lot of your wreckers, ambulances, buses, whatever, are 450 and bigger, and that's the same thing. When you get a commercial loan, you're going to be paying that 10%. People used to get so upset with me when I would come back with the rates of 10, 11, 12, sometimes even more than 20%. Now, Florida had a state max of, I think it was 17.9 is what Florida was. But, you get a max rate, somebody with the lower credit score, and they're like, well, why is this, the interest rate so high? Well, number one, you're on a commercial loan. That's always the biggest thing. And even the people that had, and I've seen 900 credit scores before, people with 900 credit scores, you're still going to be 10, 11%. There's nothing you can do about it. And it's the same thing with big rigs, too. Same thing. It's actually probably more because it's a lot more money of a piece of a project.
And let me say this too, Rich, and then I'm going to get to a couple of these comments. Rich will know this. He'll know who I'm talking about because he's been over a while. The good thing about buying a truck through Prime too, we all know, well, some of us know, had an acquaintance over there bought a new Peterbilt. Peterbilts they're notorious for certain problems. And you and I both have a friend here, RD, who's got a brand spanking new Peterbilt, picked it up the day I picked mine up. He's had it about 60 weeks. It's literally no exaggerating, spent 15 weeks plus in the shop at the dealership. It's not right. It'll never be right. He's given PACCAR 30 days now to fix it, and he's going to sue him because that truck's a lemon. And let me tell you, that happened to a guy that drove for Prime. And you know what Mr. Lowe, the owner of Prime, did, James?
What's that?
He bought that truck back from him.
Really?
Yeah. Now, that ain't going to happen at your local Peterbilt shop. I'm sorry. Unless you do what RD's going to do and sue the crap out of them, you're not getting your money back. So he bought it back.
Jeremy
Mr. Lowe bought it back.
Jeremy made some more comments here.
Yeah, I see that.
You have no control over the loads and the runs for $1.50 a mile. You know, I agree to that on something, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to make the move that I did, because I do have the control over my loads, and I think he's actually talking about Rich. Well, Rich does have control over the load somewhat. He can deny anything he wants to, but when he starts denying, then, you know, obviously I think it makes it harder to get something.
And here's what happens with that.
Let me finish these comments. I think the $1.50 a mile is kind of low for him, and me and Rich have talked about that. And he's also doing the math, and I agree with his math. $236, $1,300 a week. That's probably about right. And then he said Prime is up for sale for $3 billion. I've heard those rumors too before, but you know, I don't think any of us can actually prove those rumors because I've seen nothing in print. We've heard it, but I don't think anybody's ever come up with said that. And he also said 99% of leasing fail. I really don't think that number's that high. I mean,
no.
I think probably 60, 70% fail. But the reason that people fail is because they get into something that they don't know anything about. This has happened a lot. And again, I've done these. I've actually failed in several leases, not by choice, but by the market the way it is. You know, you got to get out while you can before you go too far under. Jeremy, I don't know if you drive a truck or if you own your own truck or if you're in the trucking business or, you know, I don't know what you do, but, you know, some of your comments are correct and I don't really agree with some of your comments, and I'm not trying to disrespect anything you're saying, but I'd be curious to see what you do for a living. If you are a truck driver, please speak up and let us know what you do if you're an owner operator or you know, where you're at. And one other thing too, thanks for coming in, Cash. I was watching.
Yeah.
You're live with DIY here right before I went live. I'd planned this out. You guys, I got to tell you, man, Cash, if you're still on here, you guys absolutely crack me up. Every time you go live, I try to watch it, and I appreciate all the plugs you're giving me. And it doesn't sound like DIY was too happy with an SFI lease, and I'm okay with that. That's fine because it works with me. And I know you always give me kudos on that, and you think everything's good. But I appreciate everything. I just wanted to say that. Go ahead, Chris.
And thank you, Cash, for, I mean, you know, you'll never know the people that you've affected because we've all, I think I can speak for a bunch of us, we've watched you, you know, you're part of the reason we do what we do. And so I just want to say thanks for every single video you've ever put out, you know, from the first one to now. And but yeah, look, let's just keep it real, James. I mean, there's people successful at Prime and there's people that fail at Prime, and there's people successful at JB and there's people that fail at JB. I would not go to Snyder if it was the last option I had. I guess I'd just quit. But I'll share later why I feel that way or why that's my decision. But I'll give you, some of you may have seen a guy out of West Virginia, Greg Rolls On. He got an SFI truck. He went to Snyder. He paid his truck off. He made a good living. He's part of the reason I'm doing this today. So while Snyder's not a good fit for me, he made it work. And there's other guys over there that's made it work.
Jeffrey Like is one. Some of
this, let's just keep it real. For Prime, for instance, you got a dispatcher at Prime, okay? You can call him driver manager, whatever you want to call him. I know without going over there, that guy's going to make, or gal, whoever it is, they're going to make or break you, James. If they like you, they're going to take care of you. If they're just lazy, they don't like you, I mean, they literally will make or break you. So there's a lot of reasons people fail. Good people fail. That doesn't mean that they're bad people just because they failed.
So some of these comments came in after Jeremy's comment, and I don't think Jeremy's still in here because he hasn't commented yet. Rich said, Prime isn't for sale, LOL. And I don't think it is either. I just don't see that owner wanting to sell that company. He's been involved in it for too long. And
Yeah.
Ted Hill said, if you're going to be an owner-operator or a lease operator, you have to work and you have to plan ahead. And that's totally true. Have to have business sense to be successful, 100%. And then Rich, well, Jeremy, I'm not failing. If you fail at Prime, it's all your fault. And you know what? I agree with you. And when I said that I had failures, well, guess what? Some of them were my fault. You know, I leased a truck back in 2015 with two companies, and I'm not going to name the companies because you're going to know who they are. One company was probably the worst decision I ever made. I did very little research in it. The second company, they are no longer in business. They were owned by a mega carrier, and they went under in 2019 because the owners of the company were embezzling money through the company. I heard that they opened up another company, but I don't know that for a fact, and I'm not going to get into that. But you know, some of the reasons, you know, the way I ran. Everybody knows that when I was with Swift, I was very successful at Swift. You know, a lot of people make fun at Swift, and honestly, that's how me and Chris met each other, was through Swift. He was there for a while, but Swift, I was very successful. I was there 3 different times. The only unfortunate thing that I had with Swift is one of the things that Jeremy said, and I agree, is we had no control over our loads. And you know, when you get to a certain point, they want to try to cap you, and that's pretty much what happened. And at night times, it's hard to get a hold of anybody. And honestly, I got no regrets against Swift. I had a good time there, made a lot of money with Swift. I probably made just as much as what Rich did at Prime with Swift, you know, making that $1.15 a mile with a fuel surcharge. Ran my butt off, kept my family fed, and, you know, kept everything moving. And the last time, matter of fact, my last paycheck, and not that I really go over numbers, I was training. And my last paycheck with Swift, I made $4,100 to me. Now, granted, that was an unusual week and a big week, but I did make that. You can make a lot of money at Swift. You just got to do things that you're not wanting to do, like train or maybe go to places you don't want to go to. And that's what you got to do. I just got tired of training. And my ultimate goal when I got back into the trucking business about 5 years ago was to do exactly what I'm doing. I wanted to get an exact same thing. Wanted to get a truck from SFI. I wanted to lease it on to a carrier, basically with the load board, to do what I needed, what I wanted to do. Now, granted, you know, I didn't know at the time which company I wanted. The JB Hunt thing kind of just came in within the last 8 or 9 months by talking to Chris and learning how well he did, and it fit my schedule for what I wanted to do, and that's what I made. A couple more comments here. I already read Ted's. I've already read those 2 comments. So go ahead, Chris, if you got anything else.
Yeah, I just think I think Rich has said it without saying it, and I've already said it. I think you can be successful at a lot of these companies. I think you can fail at a lot of these companies. Sometimes it is your fault. Matter of fact, most mistakes I've made in life have been my fault. But sometimes you just catch an unlucky break. You know, and I'll say this about Swift. I've been working jobs now for 30 years. I've never, and I repeat, never been treated any better than I was treated at Swift. They were top shelf. They treated me better than I've been treated anywhere. Now, when I first went over there, I made really good money, and then but when the freight market went bad, you know, I had trouble keeping the truck moving.
Pause that for a second. Have a good night, Ted. I'm glad to have you in. If you're interested, we'll have you on a show one time. Just let me know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I just, you know, I want to give Swift credit. I mean, they were good to me and you both. You were not, the management, the people that were running the show at Swift, you know this, James. People were not ever allowed to disrespect the driver. If you got disrespected by anybody, all you had to do was report it. And those people be on the carpet, man, within 24 hours giving an account for why they said what they said or did what they did. You know, I mean, how many places have you worked like that? Most trucking companies act like they don't need a driver. You know, Swift did not treat us like that. They were good to us. I'd still be there today if could have kept the truck moving. You know, but I couldn't keep the truck moving. When it went south, I had to go somewhere that had freight. You know, I got tired of hearing, we don't have any freight. You're in a bad area. Well, where's a good area? Because, you know, you've told me that for 6 weeks now. I mean, where can I go that's a good area? So it wasn't a falling out or a bad ending for me or you, either one. I just had to go somewhere where I could do better. Fortunately, I made a choice. It was between Prime and JB. I came to JB, and I'm glad I did. It's been a good fit for me, you know.
Well, we got a new guy in My Trucking Life. I'll have to check his channel out. Appreciate you coming in. If you got any questions, pop them up down there. Anybody got any questions, pop them up down there. Unfortunately, with this being the first show, we really haven't had a lot of new people on here. These are all friends for the most part are on here. We're just kind of going over, you know, mine and Chris's journey here, what the plans are of, you know, our channel that we're going to do here. We're going to start doing this live, hopefully every Tuesday night at this time and keep it going. And I've got other future plans to go with it too. So, you got anything else, Chris, you want to add, or anybody got any questions? Let's do it. We're right at that hour mark.
Yeah.
My Trucking Life. It's Chad. I've been talking with you on the phone. Oh, okay. All right, Chad. I know who you are, bud. Absolutely.
Yeah, if you want to do this, you can be successful. And James, you and I just talked about this week. If you've not done it before, or you've been a company driver and kind of new to the game, think you might want to do it, I would tell you what I learned from Dave Ramsey. If you don't know who Dave Ramsey is, he's a financial guru. He made $1 million. He lost it. And then he made $1 million again, and he didn't lose it this time because he learned from his mistakes. But what Dave the two things that always stuck with me that Dave said was, find somebody that's already doing what you want to do, that's successful, pick their brain, get as close to them as you can, learn as much as you can, do exactly what they're doing, get your feet under you, and then after you've had a little bit of success, you can tweak what they do and maybe make it fit you better, but try to mimic what somebody else is doing that is successful. And the second thing he always said was, if you want to be rich, you do rich people stuff. If you want to be poor, you do poor people stuff. So that'd be the two pieces of advice I'd give you from Dave is, you know, find somebody that's already doing it, and, you know, don't take advice from somebody that's that failed at it. You know, talk to somebody that's doing it every day and making it work, and you know, you'll be fine. You can be successful. If you can be successful right now in this market, James, think about what we're going to do when this thing turns around, and it eventually will.
Yeah, I agree. We've talked about that many a times. And when the market does change, we're all going to be in good shape. Rich, by that time, you're going to be with your new truck. I mean, you got that possibility to getting that thing paid off and taking it to elsewhere to another carrier if you want to. Quite frankly, I really don't think you should take it to another carrier. You're pretty successful at Prime, and keep it on there. I mean, if it works and it gets you home when you want to go home, and I know you got money saved up in the bank because of Prime, you can go home and, you know, take a month or 2 months off if you wanted to and still be okay and make your payments. But you got to do what's right for you. And right now, where me and Chris are at, it works for us.
And listen, and I can speak for James too, because we've had this conversation, you know. JB Hunt may not be the perfect fit for us from now on. I mean, trucking changes, the market changes. Right now, it's the best fit, and so we got a good thing going. We're gonna ride this donkey till it falls down.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I had to pull you back up. I lost you guys for a second. Did you lose me talking, or did I?
Yeah, we lost you for a second
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be a good time, James, and all of you that did make it in, please tell others about it, and y'all come in with us, and anything y'all want to talk about, we'll try to answer any questions you have about trucking in general. Like I said earlier in the show, if you hadn't joined us yet, we've done everything that you can do in trucking except for tanker. And heck, James, we may have to get a tanker driver to come on here.
I'll pass on that. I don't want no hazmat. So, guys, we're a little bit over the hour mark. Anybody has any last-minute questions, let's put them up there, and we'll try. I know there's only maybe 2 or 3 people on here that don't have anything to do with the channel. And again, this was just just an introduction, kind of a trial run to get us started tonight. Hopefully, I'll be a little bit better and put out some more content to where we can do this live every Tuesday and maybe get more and more people. For anybody that watches the reruns, any comments or any questions, post them on the rerun. Take time to watch it. Send it out. Send it to your friends. Like, comment, subscribe. That's how the algorithm gets picked up. Last time I checked, I was at 790 subscribers, I believe. If I can get to 1,000, that's going to be a lot better for the channel. Like I said, I got big plans. I think we're going to do good. Rich says, well, I got to go to bed, guys. Good night. And the wife says, you all are doing very well. Stay healthy and positive. Push through. And that's always the plan, Nicole. That's always the plan, like I tell you. Chad, I'm sorry I didn't remember who you are. If you're still here. But I guess we'll conclude it. We'll stop it from here. We'll talk again next Tuesday, guys. Everybody have a good night.
Stay safe.
All right, guys. See y'all later.
All right, we'll see you now. Bye.